And I thought that it might be worthwhile to do a check-in episode. Yeah, so I wanted to do a check-in episode here for the podcast. This is Miles Bonny, Record Ceremony, podcast number 4. I wanted to do a check-in because podcast has been exceptionally irregular, and that's fine, but most of my life is I definitely wouldn't say regimented, but active, and the podcast definitely takes a back seat. And I thought that it might be worthwhile to do a check-in episode where it's just me sitting in the studio my intention is connect with you. And the reason for that is because why else am I doing any of this stuff? I often say to people I know in real life or, physically, regionally, that I'm totally the kind of dude who could just, with a little help of growing food as well, live in a cave, not really engage with society too much. There's a lot of great things about it, but I can be extremely spiritual if I allow myself the time. Beyond that, so what's been going on? Well, let's just start from the real. Most days, I get up early. That's probably because I'm a father, and that's what happens when you're a parent. You start having to get up earlier, because kids sometimes get up early. But lately I get up early, and I pretty much just go straight to work. Daytimes is community-related work, kind of community health work, just trying to help the well-being of whatever community I live in at the time. And that's through both goodwill and employment in various fields, whether it's related to housing or substances or just general well-being. I see them all as being very much connected. And then in the evening time, the last couple of months, I will go to the studio. Now, the evolution of my studio activities through the years has changed a lot. When I started recording my own music, I would say that was around the year 99, which sounds a long time ago. When I left high school in New Jersey and moved to Lawrence, Kansas to go to University of Kansas, where a lot of my family were from.
And probably changes as often as my style ranges from slow to fast and from old to next. I'm so upset for those with the task to open next. Go for cash, I hold the head above. I know respect is getting love is giving what you never even known was setting up in melody, but you're capable of so much more. If you would just explore yourself for yourself, or you're still telling me something I don't want to hear. Controlled by your fears and not knowing these years that pass by will build you up into a factual lie. What matters isn't time or what happens in life. I'm at you tonight, tomorrow I'm back on my bike or at the job site, working it off like your laboring pops might. My freedom is being locked inside of my world.
And that was really the transition time where I went from kind of being a backseat high school student in my, primary school years, exploring New York alone, not really hanging out with people that much aside from my homies Joe and some other folks. And there'll be a podcast with Joe coming up soon in some form. 2, moving to college and being like, this is a fresh start, fresh region. I'll really want to take my love of independent hip-hop that I grew up with as a fan in the 90s, going to Fat Beats a lot and stuff like that in New York, and making my own beats. So I got an MPC, but actually before that I got a Roland JX305, a really long blue keyboard. There are definitely demo videos online if you want to check it out. It sounded cheesy At the time, it was cool. Got cheesy. Now it's probably cool again. But I was like, I want real drums, so I want an MPC 2000 XL. Long story short, started making beats. Started recording with people for the first time. I was very much the producer rather than the vocalist. That turned into me working with a variety of MCs. And eventually I was in a group called Sounds Good. We were primarily based in Kansas City, which isn't too far away.
Okay, here we go. We still low budget up in this motherfucker. You know. Bet that. Miles is gonna jump on the chorus with me, y'all. Yeah. Off tops, who when the rock when Doc bust, throw your hands up. I'm a wild people to get bucked. Let your backbone slip and get stuck. Man, if you paralyzed, you better move from the waist up. Say what? You heard me the first time. Dr. Rippin' shit before my first rhyme. Pass me a mic and it shine like a reflector. Double it back and bring it like to your sector. I'm out to wet you. Just me and my grandma Glock. Fuck, trigger happy, y'all walk with the hammer cock like a New York cop. Ready to blow your spot. Hot shit to get to blaze. Smoke pot, oh not the best choice you got. Stop, drop, and roll. Fuck on the fight the feeling, let the music take control. Yo. Cause even if you can't feel it, I know it's gonna rock your soul. Come on, y'all, just let it go. Movement of mind, body, your soul. Show our hands from our heads, ready to rock the show. Yeah. Come on, y'all, just let it go. Movement of mind, body, and soul. Show our hands from our heads, ready to rock the show. Check it. This here the type of shit for B-boys to break to. We bridging the gap from old to next school. See, ain't nothing new, same rules, different design.
Came out with a couple albums. Miles, Bonny, and Joe Good Presents, which is going to be released digitally soon. And then Biscuits and Gravy, which has been out for some time. And then I released one later after the group broke up called Goodbye, which is kind of a processing for me, but also a collection of songs that were still remaining. That group broke up because the MC Joe Good didn't want to rap anymore. It's kind of my understanding. And I started singing. But all around that time, as you can tell, it's early after a late night. Around that whole time, I was either just doing very lo-fi production and some magically lo-fi recording, or I was working with Jazz, who now runs 64111 Clinic in Kansas City, and watching him do most of the mixing and engineering.
Welcome to Disco Hell, motherfuckers. Yeah. Talk about this thing called motion, man. Tell them something. Get up. Get down. Please, stand up. Sit down. Move forward.
What?
Move back. That would even get some motion, y'all. Come on. Now once to get it moving, I ain't trying to stop. Perpetual motion to keep me roasting hot. So I would always have to work for peanuts and start to clean up. Pockets the size of teacups, but how much is enough? It was an limitation. When opportunity knocks and drops an invitation. I want a copper patient, but want my people plus. Produce a sequel, stay legal and try to cheap it up. I'm in a hunky jack, ready for the open track. Trying to keep composing, so I'm steady rolling, smoking bats. And I'ma do it till it hurts. Worst comes to worst, trying to leave my name up on this universe. I see these jokers on the side of me, tricking like these hoes, and you know they can't ride for free. So shake the leeches off your coattails, cause losing their weight means more teas and rotels. So oh well. Fuck 'em, who needs them anyway? Been rocking mics since street sours.
Had a, transition to singing, because around that time, when the MC Joe Good didn't want to rap anymore, I still had beats. I was still kind of on a roll, and I thought, well, maybe I'll try to sing, 'cause I don't really feel like a rapper. So I started singing and playing horn more over beats, and that's what led to my singing career. And I think at its height, I was pretty much, late night at the upstairs of my house at the time, just making stuff. I had my systems kind of dialed in as far as the recording process. It was always just me, but I really enjoyed just kind of kicking it in kind of a meditation for me, I guess, and reflection, and just seeing what comes out. And that's still my favorite way to approach music.
I need a drink. 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 Put it in the cup. Put it in the cup. Put it in the cup. Put it in the cup.
Then around 2013, I moved to New Mexico, and I very much wanted to record there and just travel and do shows and just focus on music. But as life happens, I had some additional responsibilities, and that my relationship at the time changed. And so I had to, be present for my kids half the week, which really mandated that I stick around a bit more, which brought me back into community work. So here we are, 7 years later. What are we? Yeah, we're like a month away from my 7th year anniversary living here, roughly. And I finally, through friends and situations, have access to a space where I have everything I own set up pretty much. And the wonderful part about that is I can actually figure out what it is and whether I have a use for it and how it should connect. And as a result, most recently, I've been able to spend more time doing that because I also have more time because my wife and baby son are out of the country visiting their family. So I've been digging in, y'all. There's a couple different ways once music is created and you decide like you want to release it, that you can approach that. I see it kind of as two ways in my eye. You either have the music and you have like a grand plan and you execute the plan, not only musically, but as far as like, how am I going to spread the word about this? Do I want to make a video? Am I pressing it up on vinyl or CDs or whatever? Or you're just like, this music's done. This is just a part of my practice and my process. I'm just going to release it. That's more the vibe I'm on right now.
Something little better than what we got right now.
With me, come on y'all, just evolve with me. The moment that you talk about peace, then you're called hippie. It's alright to have a heart, but we only honor those with the most battle scars. I travel far with the peace pipe and share with each life, no matter race or religion. I know we're all raised different and conditioned, but there's something better than living a life scared. Love multiplied by the speed of light squared. On stage I pray with the sage and the juniper, that we change and disengage in the ways of Lucifer. We're in mourning, this place is stormy like the face of Jupiter. Every human before me's been warning, when will we choose to love?
Feels like I'm always waiting on. Feels like I'm always waiting on something little better.
Search for something better in a sea of North Korean propaganda, yo, whatever. Egyptian revolution on the rise, yo, whatever. In Iran they seek to sever Saudi ties, yo, whatever. Globe heated, not a snowflake in the sky, yo, whatever. Don't bother me, I'm searching. The golden era was the most ideal at times, and that is why it won't prepare us. Take a look at your reflection, second time, broken mirrors. Cause effect, a noose and net connected tide, no one hears us. People asking how I keep my wretched mind so together. When the fate of souls depended, know the ledge, know the letter. When they push you off your rock, a shoulder spread, grow some feathers. This utopia could not be better said, no one ever. So whatever.
Couple reasons for that. I'm not I don't have all my eggs in one basket with music. It's not my primary source of income currently, so it's not about that for me. It's about essentially like I'm like a painter in a studio and I'm finishing paintings. And when those paintings are done, they're done. And if I was a visual painter, I would be giving them to like my representative or gallery or whatever, and they figure out what they curate. I don't have that, so I'm just like, boom, the painting's done, throw it up. And that's why all the time on social media, I'm like, hey, subscribe on whatever your streaming thing is, because it's a lot of music to catch. Currently, Egg Black is a project that I've had remastered. Shout out to Cody for the remastering. Shout out to B. Lewis, who produced the project. It was originally released many years ago as an EP. Shout out to John, who helped bring me and B. Lewis together. And it was a cool time. We did the San Jose Jazz Festival, because that's where B. Lewis is based. We did a show in San Francisco, which is a whole nother story.
From the bottom to the top, all you gonna feel is boom, 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 boom. We're only halfway to where I wanna go. Do I make you feel pretty? 'Cause it's about time that you know you're a breath of fresh air. Of fresh air. 'Cause from the bottom to the top, when you hear the beat drop, it goes boom, 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 boom. From the bottom to the top, how you gonna feel it?
It was a great project, great music, the most progressive, electronic, thick soul stuff I'd ever done, and still have really ever done. It was super compressed and very, with the attempt of being loud, but I don't know if it was done in the best fashion or whatever. So it's remastered. It's going to be coming out in short pieces, which is why you have these single songs coming out for me that sound similar in vibe, all produced by B. Lewis, because it's going to culminate in the release of Egg Black in late February or March sometime. We'll see. Digital release. Also, I've been working on, supporting collaborators. I have a homie named Bartek in Poland who I met when I was out there, and he did a remix of an acapella I put actually on social media because Kiefer Beats, I think that's how you say his name, piano dude on Stone's Throw and such, did something where he released some beats and people could play over it and post it online, which is a smart move. And it was an ill beat, so I loved what I did. Threw the acapella up afterward. He made a beat out of that. So he called the beat, Bartek called the remix It's You, Mesbruta remix along those lines. I just decided to call it You, the letter U. So that's coming out soon. It's kind of like a chill but up-tempo minimal dance thing. I'm not really into genres, but hopefully you can tell me what genres I make. What else is going on? So back to podcasting. I have some things in the works. So far, I've done an interview with Nick Hakim, who I love as an artist, and Brandon Coleman, who's also a great artist. Nick's was done on the phone, a lot of background noise and such. Brandon's was done in the lobby of Meow Wolf, which was super loud, but I'm just diving in, it was a fun time, but it's not as chill like this to listen to. And then the last one was number 3 with my homie Trance Conductor and other good folks, and we did cover a lot of good topics. This one will be 4, and it's kind of influenced by Freddie Josham. I think that's how he says to say his name. I always want to say Joakim. But he's got a podcast where he just talks, and shout out to him. I've listened to that a couple of times. But upcoming, past episode 4 will include conversations edited that I've had with Suff Daddy, both in Berlin and in New Mexico here, and also conversations with my best childhood friend, Joe, from New Jersey, where I grew up. And what's really interesting about that one is that he's a real heartfelt dude. We really understand each other. Obviously, we've known each other since we were like 4, something like that. And but he's also like a veteran, done multiple tours in Afghanistan, lives in Jersey still. And I appreciate that perspective because I'm not a veteran. And so, there's always a lot to learn from people who've experienced things you haven't. So those are on the way. I haven't spent that much time editing because, as I started off talking about, I primarily have been spending most of my time on community work and on music. I haven't been doing a lot of shows or touring because that really takes like a system. You gotta either reach out to people in cities and kind of put it together yourself, or you need to help. You need the help of someone else who's gonna like connect all the dots with booking agents and venues or field inquiries, And where I'm at internally with relationship to that too is that when I moved to New Mexico, it's taken me literally 7 years to feel settled because this is such a dynamic place. Most people that move here from cities and stuff because they're attracted to the way it looks and stuff like me, it's not easy to stay because it's not the easiest place to find work. There's not that many people here. There's not really a huge scene, but there are some venues and some good folks. Etc. So that's not the issue for me at all. My issue has just been like, I'm ready for the next chapter. Maybe some other time I'll allude to, during these last 7 years, my consideration of looking back in the past and thinking, what if I still did that, or what if I did that instead, or whatever. But in the end, I've been retracing my steps here and there. I went back to Berlin. I've been back to places that I had great times performing, and things change, and places change, and venues change. And so I'm changing. I'm processing a lot of music I have been working on over the last couple of years, putting it together into different releases, and also culminating in me releasing a project, Lumberjack Soul 2, as a follow-up to the first one. My intention there is to continue the vibe that so many of y'all or people out there in the world have told me they enjoyed about that record, that album. And so I have a bunch of songs that are on that similar vibe, but kind of taken to more diverse places, but not too much. That's right. They know what's good for me. You know what's good for you too. Stop playing. They tell me I should want you. That's right. That's right. They know that I should want you. And I'm working on mixing that now. I have a lot of content, a lot of music, and engineering is something I enjoy. But the more I do it, the more I realize how little I know. So I'm finding the balance there. Also, Miles Bonny is my real name, as I said in the song "Do You." Call me Miles Bonny, that's my real name. And it's a really interesting relationship because I'm Miles Bonny all the time. And, like that actor, Dwayne Johnson, he's like The Rock, right? Now he's Dwayne Johnson, the actor, but, he could probably put his rock away in the closet at night. I'm always Miles Bonny and I don't separate the two. So, I'm always me, whether I'm making music or not. And the music reflects that, but it also calls me to re-examine who I am. Like, what am I? What are my boundaries? What are my walls? What kind of music should I make because I like it, or which one actually adds to the world because it's something I do maybe a little better than other styles. I hear you saying you're alone. No one to talk to on the phone. Even the internet has let you down. You'll feel your time has come around. What styles have I not done that people don't really know how to wrap their minds around yet because they don't associate it with me? And part of that for me is kind of the, for lack of a better term, like aggressive energy side of me. I'm using the pseudonym Bonny because that was my grandfather's name before he moved to America. And then he changed it to Bonny. But I feel connected to his heritage and got to visit where he was in Poland a couple years ago. And as, you know, a historic last name of my family's, I feel like that had the edge that fit my interest in like kind of harsh, big symphonic electronic music. So I have a whole new project coming out. I think it's called Beats Too Cold, TOO, because it's actually the second Bonny album release. And that will be out in a couple of weeks. It has like a white and purple cover with a purple tape I dropped in the snow and took a picture of. And then I threw on the logo created by Anna T. Iron, a really talented graphic designer and artist in Hamburg, Germany, who I met online and offline. And she also did my one of my other logos for Miles Bonny. But anyway, man, that shit is thick. And I love it. I'd like to just do more vocals over that kind of stuff over time, but for now I'm just gonna let the beats rest because I have a great mastering engineer right now and I wanted to process it that way. So that's on the way too, the Bonny because it's under a different artist name, you won't be notified if you follow me on Bandcamp or Spotify or Apple Music when it comes out. So if you have an interest, look up Bonny. It's spelled Bonnikowski, basically, BONIKOWSKI, and follow those pages or whatever, and you'll get it notification. So yeah, man, the whole internet. I think I'm gonna end it about here because this is pretty much what I want to say. But like the internet, dog, it's interesting. I really appreciate it existing. It's definitely in this chapter where we as the users of it are being directed in directions that do not serve us as well. And what I mean by that is that the people who are fine-tuning the processes and the ways that we interact on what they call social media is being increasingly manipulated towards the goals of those who created the business model that we view as a fun-free service. They're trying to make money. It is what it is. I participate in it. But I'm also really enjoying exploring ways to make things more connected outside of social media again. An artist I'm really digging lately named Temu, Temu, He's in New York now. I feel like he's probably not from New York, but I don't know. Maybe he is. I'm trying to reach out and support him from afar as a fan. But he did a cool thing where he sent out emails to people who joined his email list with free music, and maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Because I'm going to start an email list again. I had all these processes running like 15 years ago, but I just kind of lost interest in doing it, and now I'm going to pick it up again. Because I don't like just posting on Facebook and, seeing if you happen to see it or like it or something. Like, it's so minuscule, dude. It's like talking with you about how much salt we like on our food. Sorry, it has nothing to do with the broader scope of relationships among people. And so yeah, stay in touch, holler at me. I'm definitely, like I just posted on Instagram, I'm definitely more a fan of hearing from people than I'm with posting and stuff. It's like kind of a chore for me to figure out what to post. Because I either post random stuff or, it's just, I'm not into it really. So reach out, hello@milesbonny.com, or message me on one of the things out there. Thanks to some of my current friends, I'm getting out of the house more, hanging out with people here in Taos as I ramp up my event creation for 2020, because I'm finally ready to do that. And it's really interesting and great to get to know the people I'm surrounded by more. And even when I have the full family here in the next month or so, I hope I can still continue to reach out to my people locally. Expect more interviews on this podcast. Don't expect for it to be regular. Until I have less other things I want to do, it's not going to be consistently released. So upcoming shows I am involved with here to try to help support and build up the scene include my ongoing collaboration that started in January with a local drink establishment called Rolling Still Distillery. They reached out to me about doing a vinyl night on Tuesdays. I thought it sounded like fun. It is under the same name as this podcast and my former radio show and my former Vimeo show and a whole bunch of stuff called Record Ceremony. And that is every Tuesday. It'll continue starting again in March. And I just pretty much chill in the corner and play vinyl records. And if people have their own records, they can show up and play them too. And it's real relaxed. And then once a month, I'm also going to do my dance party, kind of pretty much big electronic, loud, bassy dance party with the homie Steve called Are You Happy? And that will be monthly. Next one is in March as well.
Are you happy?
Sometimes the holidays can get you down, but we're here to help you up. My third event is another monthly that I'm starting February 6th in Taos. The goal is that it is a showcase of local musicians, 3 per event, plus myself doing DJing and hosting. And the idea is that if you're an artist and you're at home and you don't perform out in public a lot, or you don't create new music a lot because maybe you're not that into it, or maybe you don't want to have to put together a show and promote it, maybe you're less likely to create new stuff, right? So I want to take away the hard part for the artists. The show is already set. It's once a month, collaboration with the venue. Artists get booked. They get a set small amount of money. They get drinks and food, and they're going to leave that night with a copy of their set recorded from the soundboard. Hopefully that will help create a cycle so that as people have that experience of performing, whether it's new to them or not, and they reflect back on how it went, they will continue to develop further. And for people who may not have ever performed, maybe they can gather up 34 minutes of something that they're willing to do on stage and give it a shot. Because at the end of the day, people here love touring musicians that come through, and we have a lot of great shows that are increasing. I won't even get into that, but there's tons of stuff happening here for live music over the course of the year, especially in the warm months. But how great is it to have a strong local scene? And in a town like this that's focused on tourism through skiing and all this kind of stuff and retirees, it's also important to take care of the people who live there. If you do any research on the internet about ski towns or seasonal tourist economies, they always have kind of a dark side. And I spend my day working on the dark side. I spend my nights bringing a light through my music in the studio and then throwing it out to the world and see what you all do with it, if you interact with it or not. If you have any ideas or thoughts on how to, help each other out or anything you want to tell me, I'm always willing to, take the time to get around to hearing from other people, because that's the joy of socialization, is our interactions. So that's all I'm going to say for now. This is, I think, as I record this at the beginning of February, and this marks pretty much the last week I have before my wife is back in town. Shore, by the way, Shhor, phenomenal vocalist. Follow her on all the music stuff, follow her on social media. As I tell people, I can sing, but she sings, if you know what I mean. And once you hear it, you will know. And that'll be its whole new other beautiful journey. But I got one more week to just be in my little man cave, churn out some stuff, or get at least further down the processing line to being released. But expect a lot of music from me this year. Expect video content on my YouTube on the way. Not necessarily music videos, but other things. Expect more podcasts once in a while. Expect a lot more collaborations with other producers. Expect me producing myself. Expect me, laying down some drums on some of my tracks. Keyboard game is getting stepped up. And I feel like I'm at the beginning of my next period. If my first period of music was like listening and then eventually making beats, my second period was as a kind of like fun musical hip hop producer for that group Sounds Good. And I encourage you to go listen to that music because it's beautiful. I think about the opening track to Biscuits and Gravy. Our second album is called Take Your Time. And both the homie Joe Good on the vocals and lyrics and me on the beats, it's just like, it's beautiful stuff. You should check it out. And then my third chapter was like starting to sing and then being involved with the European scene. Shout out to Robert Winter, Soph Daddy, Twit One, everybody. There's going to be a book and a compilation, vinyl and digital, released very shortly by Robert Winter. He's a great photographer. He shot music videos for me, including All I Know for the S3 project I did with Brink, as well as Lumberjack Soul, and tons of photos. And that book is going to be phenomenal. He did like a Kickstarter or something like that and raised enough money, and try to get your hands on it if you can. It has tons of photos from that era. Anyway, I don't even know what I was talking about. But now my next chapter, I guess, is the fourth chapter, which is basically like, all right, I've had a lot of experiences and I'm very grateful. And I'm very grateful for my current situation, feeling pretty settled now in this Southwest region. So I'm willing to get out there again and really fine-tune and develop and move forward the music and the sounds that I am feeling currently. I definitely do not want to rest on this kind of 91 BPM, piano, hip-hop beat, singing, playing harmon mute, trumpet over it. I've done that enough. I know a lot of people out there love it, and that's great. That's why you can listen to those recordings, but I got to keep things dynamic because I'm not just going to try to ride some old coattails of my own for a long time. That being said, I do also look forward to performing again and touring after I finish my solo projects, whether they're the Bonnikovsky beats or Miles Bonny releases this first half of the year. Next half, to me, in my mind, is planned focused. The plan is to focus on my album with Shore. We're going to do an album together, both singing, both producing. It'll be dynamic, and it'll lend itself really well to performances. So stay in touch, y'all. I'm going to say all the lame stuff now before I say something maybe that's more real. Facebook. I have a page for music called Miles Bonny. I have a personal page that's now called Miles Bonny again. I don't really know what I'm doing at either one of them. But follow me on one or the other and reach out. I use Instagram a lot because I'm a visual person. So at Miles Bonny on that. Twitter I don't use that much. It's kind of like throwing out sand in the great sand dunes out here. I'm not feeling it as much, but I'm on it. I don't use SoundCloud for real much anymore. I really like my Bandcamp process. It's so immediate that if you want to stay in touch with me and get something as soon as I feel like it should be out to the world, follow me on Bandcamp, bro. milesbonny.bandcamp.com, because literally right now, if I wanted to, I could put this interview up like boom, and then you could have it. And I like the immediacy of that, because that's the beauty of the internet to me, is that connection point. Also send me music, because I'm DJing a lot. I have different sort of things going on, and I love being a fan. I realized recently part of the reason I do so much community work is not because I guess I do love community, but I love people doing what they love to do and being in a position where they have food, clothing, shelter, a shower, whatever they need to get to the point where they can elevate their spirit beyond the basics and show us what they got. If you listen to the song that was just released by me and Twit One for Robert Winter's compilation, it's called Celebrate Yourself Sweet. It's pretty chill, it's whatever, it's not like unbelievable. But what I'm saying on there, I mean, I'm here to celebrate you. I want to see what you're going to do. Just like you're listening to this because I've been trying to do what I can do. And that's all it is.
I love what you gon' do, 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 do. Hey, 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 hey,
Much love to you. Stay in touch. Take care of your health the best way that works for you and for your family. And just do what you can while you're alive, y'all. I got love for you. I lost some homies recently. It's definitely affected me. Rest in peace to Wake Self. Rest in peace to Infogates. Rest in peace to everybody out there that dies when they'd rather probably not. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Finding my way, surrounded by people so blinded by hate. Finding my faith, we listen to music and try to escape. Come together but get swept away. The human race in my exit stage. We so evolved with no sense of change. I spit a yoga bar that'll stretch the brain. Look at the world in its present state. Take off the blindfold, investigate. No different than fiction, it's just as strange. You can feel humanity's collective pain. Tear down the city and redecorate. In the middle of the road, trying to figure where to go with a little bit of hope to become a better version of the person that I was yesterday.
It's like I'm always waiting on something a little better. Feels like I'm always waiting on something a little better.